Hello, and welcome to the Transfer Mentor program here at Wenatchee Valley College. My name is Jenna Floyd, and I will be your supervisor throughout this process. So we're very excited to have you join us and start helping our students make the most out of their education. Let's go ahead and jump into it. So there are three of us who work here at the TRIO Student Support Services Department at Wenatchee Valley College. There's our program director, Sandra Villarreal. There's myself, Jenna Floyd, the retention specialist, and our program assistant, Donia Contreras. You are likely to interact with all three of us at some point, but if you have questions or concerns, you're always welcome to come to me, and I will be probably your main point of contact throughout this process. So there's a lot to go through today. It looks a little overwhelming, but we're going to kind of just power through and answer hopefully all the questions that you have. But of course, you are welcome to reach out if you have any questions or concerns after this, or if something's changed and you've decided that you don't really want to continue with this after the orientation, just reach out and let us know. So let's get started by telling you a little bit about TRIO. If you are unfamiliar with TRIO Student Support Services, we are a program that was designed to help students succeed in college. And our whole goal is to help them succeed here at Wenatchee Valley College, to transfer to a four-year program, and of course, to get a degree along the way. And we offer a lot of different services to make this happen. We were designed here at Wenatchee Valley College in 2015, and we provide services to 140 students at Wenatchee Valley College. Our students must meet one of three criteria. They either need to be low income according to our federal guidelines, be first generation, which for us means that their parents don't have a bachelor's degree, or they have a documented disability. So some of the things that we do, we offer a lot of academic support, which helps students pick out classes and make sure that they are completing the correct degree for their goals. We help them build study skills, mentor, and offer tutoring, among other things. We offer transfer assistance, and this is where you are a big piece of this. We give them advising, help them complete applications, find fee waivers, understand the different college options they have, picking out a major, and a lot of different things that go into transferring. But of course, as a student yourself, you're able to offer some insight that we just aren't. So we appreciate you being willing to share your experience. We also help our students build financial literacy skills by helping them look for scholarships, understanding how to complete the FAFSA, and balancing their money. If you know of scholarship opportunities or things specific to your campus, or other opportunities that you're aware of that others might not know, we'd love for you to share those with the students as well. And we complete a lot of, or participate in a lot of social and cultural events. We have workshops, social events, painting, decorating, things to kind of build community and help our students feel welcome. So the Transfer Mentor program. This program was designed to help our students succeed here and comfortably transfer wherever they go next. Even if they don't plan to go to the institution where you are, or they make some different choices. If you were a transfer student, you might know that it was a little bit of a different experience. And even if you're not a transfer student, you probably know that community college is a bit different than a university or a larger college. So transfer mentors really play a vital role in this process by helping students get that student perspective through the experience. And students and young adults who have mentors in general want to go to college and graduate. They actually have more goals than people who don't. So we know that mentoring provides students with more aspirations and more comfort to help guide them through the process. So the goal of our program, we want our mentors to provide extra support. This can be a lot of different things. It doesn't have to include every single thing about transferring, but you have some kind of insight that you can share. If you live on your campus or nearby, you might have housing information or insight. You might know of some great apartments or have recommendations on dorms or no other information. What is student life like on your campus? What kind of programs and resources are available out there, or things that make your campus unique? Scholarship information. Do you know of something that maybe students can benefit from that maybe isn't as easy to find, or even is easy to find, just letting them know that those opportunities exist. Are there different jobs on campus or opportunities that you think students might be interested in, and other extracurriculars? So regardless of what you are doing, whether you're an online student on campus, or if you were a transfer student or not a transfer student, your college experience has value and you have some insight to share. So we encourage you to offer your student perspective, whatever that might look like. And we ask that our mentors maintain appropriate connections. So if a student is asking lots of questions about financial aid, of course you can answer those questions to the best of your knowledge, but also provide them with resources where they can find this information out for themselves. So if they have questions about their application and transferring, we want you to be able to help them, but also let them know who they can reach out to, so that by the time they get into a transfer program, they have the skills for themselves to figure this stuff out. Let them know what kind of tutoring is available and what kind of programs like TRIO might exist, or certain departments, or if you are part of Greek life, and any of these things that students can connect to and get more support. And that will help them transition a bit better. So as a mentor, you have some responsibilities that come with this position. We want you to build relationships with your mentees, of course, professional relationships. You can become friends and develop friendships with them, but we mostly want you to just continue having some kind of interaction over time to help them feel supported and like they belong in a transfer environment. Be a positive role model, whether it's social interactions or your academics, or maybe your extracurriculars. Whatever you do, just maintain for yourself your high standards, but also showing other students how to succeed at a university. And like I've said, be a thoughtful facilitator that will connect students with resources at your institution. We want you to stay in contact with your mentee regularly. As the mentor, we expect you to do a little bit more of the heavy lifting and reaching out. So even if you're not hearing from your mentee, take steps to reach out to them. Of course, if that's not working and students are not responding to you, please let me know. We want to still validate and respect the efforts that you're trying, and you'll still document the efforts that you're making. But if a student's not responding to you, that's something that we can address on our end to make sure that the experience is the way it should be. At the end of every month, we expect you to submit reports to your supervisor, which will be me. Even if you don't meet with students, we still would like to see a report, just kind of briefly touching base on, what happened that month, if it just didn't work out, or other things, just to let us know that you're still involved. And at the end of the program, we will ask you to participate in evaluations and assessments to help us make the program better in the future. So we expect you to connect with your assigned mentee or mentees, if you have more than one, at least 5 times during the year. You can meet with them multiple times. It doesn't just have to be the 5, but you get paid for every 5 contacts. So if you have a couple of different mentees, then you'll be, meeting with each of them at least 5 times throughout the year, ideally. We would like you to respond to them within 1 business day. Of course, if you're busy on the weekend, it's an expectation that you are, having your own life and doing your own things. But within a typical business day, we'd like you to at least acknowledge that they've reached out to you and respond to them. Even if you don't know the answer to their question, at least acknowledge and respond to them in some way. And you can set office hours or some kind of schedule with your mentee, establish some kind of pattern if possible. If you want to meet the second Tuesday of every month or something to that nature, find some kind of availability or window to let them know, hey, I tend to be available after 4 p.m. on weekdays or something like that. And of course, make sure these interactions are appropriate. Like I said before, you can build friendships and be there for them. But we just want to make sure that this is an appropriate relationship for someone who's being employed by the college. Or not employed, contracted, I should say. And then if you have any questions or anything else, you're always welcome to reach out to me. But of course, at least once a month, you should be sending some kind of progress report, which we'll talk about in a moment. Build positive rapport. with your mentees. So you can do this in a number of different ways. You don't have to disclose all your personal life, but if you want to share some of your own academic journey, ups and downs, your hobbies, interests, family, anything that you're comfortable sharing, it really helps build up a positive relationship with other students to let them know that they're not alone. They probably have something in common with you and you can share in those experiences, and just letting them know that you're a real person. Ask questions of them, get to know some stories about their background, and help them identify strengths and skills that they have that might help them succeed. So sometimes students will tell you a story about their lives and some kind of tragedy, and you can use that to show them their strengths, show them how they overcame difficult situations or other things. Of course, you don't need to pry and they don't have to tell you personal details, but just kind of get to know them on a personal level as much as you're both comfortable with. And use your experiences as a student to shape conversations. It's okay to offer your perspective and your insight. Listen to students and what they're asking for and what they want to know, but you are a person who's had experiences too, so you're always welcome to share those. And like I said, be proactive. Send messages to the student and check in with them pretty regularly, especially if they're not, if you haven't talked to them in a little while. So of course, sometimes conflict comes up. That just happens. Not everybody's going to get along with everybody. We do our best to try and match you with students who have similar interests or who you might get along with, but sometimes opinions differ and people might have strong opinions. So if that happens, do your best to accept and respect that they might not agree with you on some topics, and that's okay. Focus on what you have in common instead, and try to downplay, kind of step aside from the areas where you disagree, maybe agree to disagree. Try to practice listening without interrupting. This can be challenging sometimes, to pause and listen to what that specific person is trying to say, even if you don't agree with it. And you can always repeat back what they're saying to restate it and see if you are understanding them correctly. Of course, if this is an issue, you are welcome to reach out to me and we can pair you with somebody different. Or if you just need additional support, if you still want to stay with the same mentee, but maybe there's something that's a little difficult, you can let us know. So we expect any kind of conflicts that you should at least acknowledge, even if it's not, in your mind, a huge deal, we still want to know about it either way. So introduce your students to the transfer in institution where you're at. So if you're on campus, you can take photos and share things about campus. Share your experiences, tell them about your favorite spots or things that you do on campus. If you're an online student, maybe share some unique experiences or cool things on the website or things that help you feel like you belong, even though you attend online. And be honest with them. If your institution isn't perfect, like most aren't, let them know about the things you wish you had known, or policies or things that are a little frustrating sometimes. The students will appreciate that. So it's not like they think it's going to be perfect and then they get there and there's, some downsides. And again, connect them to the appropriate resources. So we're kind of getting toward the end here. A couple more things to touch base on. To properly document that you are contacting your mentee, we have some paperwork that you'll be filling out, and I'll go over it with you in just a moment. So you'll be emailed some PDFs, and these will be what you use to track your interactions with your mentees. Anytime you have an interaction, you should complete one of these documents and send it via email. You can send it as it happens, or you can send it all at the end of the month, whatever works better for you. And if you don't meet with anyone that month, we still would like you to complete your monthly check-in with me. So I'm going to pause here for just a moment and share a different document with you. Okay, and this is an example form. Share my screen again. Okay, so this is the contact documentation form. So anytime you have any interaction with a student, or at least if you reach out to them, even if they don't respond, let us know. And fill this form out either way. So your name, whoever you are, whoever the mentee is that you're reaching out to. Again, if you have multiple different mentees, then you would fill one of these out for each one, for each interaction. What is the date that you tried reaching out? you know, if this is like a text conversation that takes place over a couple of days, you can just put the first date, but basically one type of interaction around when it took place and how you reached out. Just the general overview of what the topic is. It doesn't have to be super in depth, but, you know, maybe student life, financial aid, just kind of a term or a phrase that can kind of summarize it, and about how long you invested in this interaction. If it's texting, you know, sometimes it doesn't feel super long. You can round to 10 or 15-minute increments. We're not paying you based on hours or anything like that, just quality interactions. So just give us a rough estimate. You know, you put some thought into what you're going to type and respond and things, so you can, you know, round to the nearest appropriate time interval. And then give us a summary of what you talked about. You don't have to get super specific, but do give us some examples. So a student and I texted back and forth about what it's like to be a student at Central, discussed the CERC, clubs, gym, bookstore, other resources on campus. We talked about Ellensburg and what it's like to live here. So this gives us an idea of the kinds of conversation you had. You know, maybe it was a back and forth texting, and the student just wanted to know more, like, what do you actually do in Ellensburg? And you can kind of provide some insight, but you don't have to give us all the details unless you want to. So every time you interact with a student, you'll complete one of these. And again, you can send it immediately after if you want, or you can wait until the end of the month and just send everything at the same time. The other form that you will complete every month is this monthly contact form. Here you'll put your name and the name of any mentees that you have. So if you just have one, you'll just put one, but if you have more than one, list them each. And then just generally speaking, what were your challenges that you had this month, or in your successes? And if you couldn't meet with anybody this month, you would still fill this part out and just let us know, like, we weren't able to coordinate any schedules, or you know, student didn't want to meet this month, or we got too busy, you know, some kind of explanation to just let us know that you are still, you know, participating in the program, but that you weren't able to meet this month. And then just a summary, like I said. So this person had difficulty coordinating schedules with both of them. So they ended up texting, but the students wanted to meet over Zoom. A success was being able to share my excitement about the climbing wall on campus. And the students seemed very excited about it. And we talked a lot about the gym. So just kind of a general summary of this sort of things you talked about. And, you know, of course, you're meeting with potentially, this person's meeting with two different mentees. The topics might be totally different, but just share a success and a challenge that you experienced, or explain why you didn't meet with anyone. What other support would you like to receive from us? So from me, this person put suggestions for coordinating schedules and support encouraging the mentees to stick to scheduled meeting times. So if a student's not necessarily doing great responding or things like that, you can always include that here. And then if you have anything else to add, this is great, because if these are afterthoughts or things you kind of have thought of, you can just tack them on at the end. So Tim seemed very excited about attending Central, but also expressed interest in Eastern. It's totally fine. They don't have to go to your institution, but this lets us know so that we can, you know, continue talking with the student. And maybe the student didn't tell me that they're interested in Eastern. So this information is really helpful. And then knowing that Kenny is in the ETA Plus program at Central is really helpful too, because that's an early admission program. So this is what a monthly contact report, you know, ideally would look like. It doesn't have to be this detailed, but give us some general information each month. And send everything that you have if you haven't sent it already. Of course, if you have questions about any of that, you're always welcome to reach out. So the other thing I'm going to share is paperwork. So the next step of what you're going to do after this video and how we're going to get you set up to actually start getting paid. So you should receive, either you have or you will receive, a form that looks like this. It's long and looks a little overwhelming. This is the contract that comes from Wenatchee Valley College. So this is how we actually are able to pay you. You're not considered an employee of the college. You're considered a contractor. So we'll have you complete this contract form. Some of this information has been pre-filled for you, so you don't have to think about it. You're doing a client service, contractor name, that's you, whatever your name is. And then all of your information, your address, phone number, email. You probably don't have a Washington State UBI number. You can leave it blank. And federal ID number is going to be probably your social security number, if that's what you have. The scope of work, this is information we've pre-filled for you. It should sound pretty standard based on what was in the description when you applied, but the description is also included in here if you have questions. The work can begin anytime after November 1st and can go through the end of June. You don't have to do, like, this doesn't have to be your first day of work, but this is the time window in which we will be working. You'll get $100 per 5 contacts, not to exceed $400 total. So if you're meeting with multiple students, this is kind of the maximum we can do. So it's about 20 contacts total across all students as a maximum, but you don't have to do that much. You just need the minimum of 5 contacts per year. You can ignore this information. This is, well, you can refer to it if you want, but this is our director, Sandra Villarreal. And then this information is yours. Contract manager for contractor is just you. Your name, address, phone number, all that stuff you filled in before, you just need to fill it in again. You can read through all of this information if you'd like. It's just about liability and things like that. We can leave Exhibit A blank, but on the next page, we do have that description that you hopefully saw when you applied, kind of give you an overview of expectations. If for some reason this applies to you, you can change it, but I've never had anyone who has had that. So we just went ahead and said no. You will be supervised by me. If the answer is no, a background check's required, but the answer is yes. So if you would like to go ahead and sign this anyway, just in case, that would be helpful so that we don't run into any barriers in the business office, but you can digitally sign this by clicking on it and doing a digital signature. There's a way to do that through Adobe, or you can print this out and sign it by hand. And then a couple questions here. Have you ever been convicted of a crime? Yes or no? And then domestic violence, abuse, sexual abuse, neglect. Answer those questions. And if for some reason, yes, give us an explanation here. This information, you can just put your local, county, city, and state. This is for a background check. We ask that you ideally will complete this so that we don't run into any issues, but you will be supervised, so that's okay too. Again, you can do a digital signature or you can print it out. And then this page, this is signatures for the contract, which is what you just read through. This is your signature, your printed name, your address, email, and phone number. And then it will also ask you for your social security number or your federal ID if that's something different you have. This information will be completed by us here at the college. And then make sure any place that asks for your initials that you put your initials in. So I think it might just be that page. Going up and double check. Yes. So for now, at least it's only been that one page so far. So make sure that you put those initials down at the bottom. And then you will need to complete a W-9. This is for your taxes to make sure that you actually get paid. So complete this information. You don't need to do a business name unless you have one. You are an individual. And then exempt payee code, you know, the exemptions and things of that nature. There's more information on the next page if you need help with that. Your address, city, account number here, that's not something that you need to worry about. And then name and address here as well. Then your social security number, or if you have an EIN, most of you won't, it would just be your social. Again, signature and date. And then if you have questions about how to fill out any of that other information, you can read through it here. Okay. And then finally, you will see there's a lot of documents here, and I don't want to stress you out. This is just legal information for your information, but if you have questions about it, please let me know. And then finally, this last page is something that we will complete when you are done with your 5 contacts and it's time to get paid. So you don't have to worry about this right now. You're welcome to complete the first part of this, but we will need to get your signature and information on this when it's actually time to issue a check for you so that the business office can send it out to you. So this would be your information, your name, address, signature, title will be transfer mentor, your social security number, and then we'll put in the date and information when you actually are authorized to get paid. So again, this is not required right now. You're welcome to complete some of the information now, but this won't be ready until it's time to pay you. And then we will send it out to you and have you sign to make sure that it matches what you believe. So this is a lot of legal documentation and it can feel overwhelming. It's a service contract. I am here to help you with this. If you want to schedule a time to meet with me over Zoom, I can go through it with you. And I will show you how to do that. You can also email or call us and we're happy to go through it with you too. So if you would like to book an appointment with me, you can do so on a bookings calendar. It looks like this. You'll just go ahead and put advising, even though it's not advising. That's the best way to book with me. You might see a page that has lots of different options. If so, just do advising with Jenna and pick a date and time that works for you. Put in your name, email, phone number. This is probably going to be a Zoom appointment. And then down here, please let me know that you are a transfer mentor and that you would like help with contracts. So or whatever else you might be wanting to talk about. Our program assistant books these for me. So if she sees someone who's not a student, it can be confusing. So this information really helps make sure that she knows that you are, booking the correct thing. So finally, let's get back to the presentation. I'll show you our contact information and then we'll be done. Let's see. Okay. So the next steps are to complete that contract and that paperwork that I just showed you and get it back to me. And then we'll go ahead and get you assigned some mentees that you can start meeting with in November. If you would like to contact any of us, here is our information. You can always find it on our website or in my email signature as well. Again, Sandra Villarreal is our director. My name is Jenna Floyd. I'm the retention specialist, and Dania Contreras is our program assistant. You can reach out to any of us and we can help you. But if you have questions about transfer mentoring and things like that, then go ahead and schedule a time with me or email me or reach out. Again, at the end of every month, we ask that you will email me those documents that you have, and we'll send out a reminder to you as well. So we're very excited to have you joining us. Thank you for taking the time to mentor our students. I'm here for you if you have questions, but otherwise we'll be seeing you soon and getting you started meeting with some students.